We don't usually notice the table first. It's usually a voice, or a pause, or the way someone stops mid-sentence. This time, it was a place setting that never appeared. Erin Caldwell's story stays with us because nothing loud happened at the start. Everything looked prepared. That was the problem. This is how she remembers it. I dropped Lily off at my parents' house a little before 5. I had already changed into my scrubs, hair pulled back, keys in my hand. She hugged me, tight, like she always did when she knew I wouldn't be home that night. "Text me pictures," I told her. "All the cookies." She grinned and lifted the container. "I made extra. Grandma said everyone's excited." I believed her. By the time I reached the hospital, the ER was already backing up. I didn't check my phone again until much later. When Lily got there, she helped like she always did, took off her coat, put the cookies on the counter. Grandma had the dining room set up differently this year. White tablecloth, real napkins, little cards folded in half at every plate. Lily noticed before anyone said anything. She told me later she counted twice. 8 cards, 8 chairs, none with her name. People started coming in from the living room, coats off, glasses poured. My sister Megan walked in with her new boyfriend and sat him down near the middle. The chair Lily thought was hers was already taken. Grandma looked up and smiled. The same polite smile she uses at church. "Sweetheart, the main table tonight is for adults." Lily stood there with her plate. Grandpa kept his eyes on the centerpiece. She waited for someone to move, someone to notice, someone to say they could grab another chair. No one did. From where we sit, that pause mattered more than anything else. Later, Lily told me she felt something settle in her chest. Not panic, not anger, just the understanding that this wasn't a mistake. "I think I'll head home," she said. Quiet enough that no one argued. My phone buzzed at the hospital while I was washing my hands. "Mom, I don't think I belong here. If this sounds familiar, stay with us." Erin's voice has only just begun. By 6, the ER had that tight, humming feeling it gets on holidays. Too many people, not enough rooms. Someone down the hall was crying about a twisted ankle. Someone else kept asking for water we couldn't give yet. I tied my hair back again even though it was already tight. Habit. Something to do with my hands. A nurse I've worked with for years leaned over the desk. "You good to take the next one?" "Yeah," I told her. My voice sounded fine. Steady. I didn't look at my phone. I knew if I did, I wouldn't stop. An hour later, I finally stepped into the supply room to wash my hands. The soap dispenser was almost empty. I pressed it twice, harder than I needed to. When I glanced down, there was a message from Lily. Just one line. "Mom, I don't think I belong there." I stood there longer than necessary, staring at the screen, tried calling, straight to voicemail, tried again. Same thing. I pictured her in that dining room, standing the way she does when she's waiting to see if she's in trouble, shoulders pulled in, quiet. A doctor passed by and asked if I was coming. In a second, I said, "I sent a text back. I'm here. I'm working. Call me when you can." The rest of the shift blurred. Charts, beeping monitors, a man with chest pain who kept apologizing for ruining our night. Somewhere between midnight and morning, I realized Lily wasn't calling back. A few weeks before Christmas, my mom called while I was folding laundry. Lily was on the couch, labeling gift bags with a marker that kept squeaking. "We're doing dinner a little differently this year," my mom said. "Casual. Too casual. More formal. Think of it as a practice run." "For what?" I asked, turning a sock right side out. "Our anniversary next spring. We want everything perfect." I pictured my parents' dining room, the same table, the same 8 chairs. "Okay," I said. "Lily'll be fine." There was a pause. Just long enough to register? Then my mom laughed softly. "Of course." 2 days before Christmas, my sister Megan called. She sounded breathless, like she always does when she's trying to sound upbeat. "Just a heads up," she said. Mom's being really particular about seating. Adult table vibes. Lily's 16, I said. She eats turkey. She listens. Megan rushed in. I know. I just didn't want you blindsided. After I hung up, Lily came into the kitchen with flour on her sweatshirt. Is Grandma excited? She is. I told her. She smiled and went back to the counter. She'd made a list on the fridge. 5 kinds of cookies. 1 box for each aunt and uncle. She even wrapped the neighbor gifts early so nothing would get forgotten. That night, she asked what to wear. Something comfortable. I said, "You'll be there a while." She nodded like she'd already planned on it. Lily told me later that she got there early, helped the way she always does, took her coat off, lined the cookie boxes along the counter, wiped a spot of flour off the island with her sleeve. The dining room looked different. White tablecloth, cloth napkins folded just so, little cards propped at each place, names written neatly, like this was something that mattered. She noticed right away that there wasn't one for her. She counted again. 8 chairs, 8 cards, none with Lily on it. People started drifting in from the living room. Coats came off. Wine glasses clinked. My sister Megan walked in with her new boyfriend, Ryan, one hand on his arm like she was guiding him somewhere important. Grandma pulled his chair out near the middle of the table, the chair Lily thought was hers. Lily stood there with her plate, not frozen, just waiting. Grandma glanced up, still smiling. "Sweetheart, the main table tonight is for adults." Lily said she thought it was a joke at first. She laughed once, quiet. "I'm almost grown," she said. "I'll be fine." Grandma shook her head. Gentle. "This is for the anniversary practice. Adult conversations." Someone down the table mentioned grabbing another chair. Grandma's voice tightened just enough. "We already finalized the arrangement." Lily looked at Grandpa. He was adjusting the centerpiece, moving a candle a fraction of an inch. "Listen to your grandmother," he said. She spent all week planning the menu. Ryan started to stand. Lily remembered that part clearly. He pushed his chair back just a little. Grandma's hand settled on his shoulder. "Sit down, Ryan. You're our guest." Lily doesn't mind. She's family. At the far end, the twins were already on their phones, heads down, thumbs moving. Lily said that was the moment it clicked. Not a mistake. Not confusion. She set her plate down. "I think I'm going to head home," she said. No one stopped her. I didn't hear from Lily right away. That part still sits heavy. She told me later she walked out slowly. Keys already in her hand, so no one would think she was being dramatic. Grandpa called her name once, half-hearted, like an afterthought. She kept going. Outside. The air was sharp. Her car took a second to start. She sat there with both hands on the wheel, breathing through her nose the way I taught her when she was little and overwhelmed. In through 4, out through 4. Then she pulled away. I was still at the hospital. A patient needed stitches. Someone else needed imaging. The night kept moving like it didn't care what was happening anywhere else. My phone buzzed while I was charting. I didn't look right away. When I finally did, there was a missed call and a text that came through right after. "Mom, I'm driving home." I stepped into the hallway and called her back. It rang and rang. When she picked up, her voice sounded careful, like she was holding herself together with both hands. "I'm okay," she said before I could say anything. I just couldn't stay there. I leaned against the wall, scrub pants rustling. "I'm so sorry." She paused. It wasn't loud. That was the worst part. A cart rolled past us. Someone laughed down the hall. "I'll be home as soon as I can." I told her. "I know," she said. I locked the door. My shift ended at 6:15. I remember because I checked the clock twice, like the numbers might change if I stared long enough. I didn't go home. I didn't want to explain my face before I knew what I was going to do with it. I drove straight to my parents' house instead. The streets were quiet in that exhausted post-holiday way, wrapping paper at the curb, lights still on in windows, Their driveway was full. Cars lined up like everyone had decided to stay the night. That told me more than I needed to know. I sat in my car for a minute with the engine running. My hands were still shaking from the shift. Or maybe from something else. I took the envelope from the passenger seat. Plain, typed, no handwriting. I didn't trust my hand not to give something away. I walked up to the door. The wreath was still there, crooked the way my mom always hangs it. I taped the envelope right in the center, pressed the edges down so it wouldn't curl. I didn't knock. Back in the car, my phone lit up. Missed calls already stacking up. My mother first, then my father, then Megan. I turned the ringer off and set the phone face down. When I got home, Lily was asleep on the couch, blanket pulled up to her chin. The tree lights were still on. She'd left one cookie out on a plate like she always does, even when she's upset. I covered her with another blanket and sat on the floor for a minute, just listening to the quiet. The phone kept buzzing. I let it. They didn't read it right away. I knew that. My mother never opens anything before coffee. By 8, the calls came fast enough that the phone buzzed across the kitchen counter. I let it slide until it hit the wall, then turned it face down again. The letter was short, clean, facts only. I wrote that Lily hadn't been forgotten, that chairs were counted, that a decision had been made with her standing there. I wrote that for 5 years I had paid $1,050 every month toward the house, not because anyone asked, but because when Lily was small and I was broke and in nursing school, my parents helped keep her safe. I paid it back because I believed that house would always be hers too. I wrote that if there was no place for her at that table, there was no reason for my money to be there anymore. I mentioned the cookies, 5 kinds, baked from scratch, boxed and labeled. I wrote that they were in the trash bin by the curb, along with whatever we used to be to each other. I didn't explain further. I didn't soften anything. Megan left a voicemail, angry, fast, told me I'd embarrassed everyone. My father texted that we needed to talk like adults. My mother said nothing at all. Lily came into the kitchen while the coffee brewed. She didn't ask what I'd done. She just leaned against the counter and waited. By the afternoon, the messages changed tone. Less yelling, more explaining. An aunt I barely talked to sent a long paragraph about forgiveness. An uncle wrote 2 sentences about family sticking together. I didn't answer either. A locksmith came before dinner. He smelled like metal and winter air. Changed the locks without asking why. Handed me the new keys and waited while I tested them. The sound was solid, final. The door camera went up the next morning. Small, unassuming. The kind you stop noticing once it's there. Megan showed up anyway. I saw her on the screen first, pacing, phone in hand. She knocked twice, then again. Harder. Erin. She called through the door. You're being dramatic. I stood in the kitchen, Lily beside me, both of us quiet. Megan's voice shifted, softer now. Mom's upset. Dad doesn't get it. Just open the door. I didn't move. The kettle clicked off on its own. After a while, Megan left. Her car sat there longer than it needed to, then pulled away. That night, Lily asked if she could take a shower before bed. She left her phone on the counter. Screen dark. I noticed she didn't keep checking it. When she came back, hair damp, she sat at the table and started on homework like it was a normal night. I watched her write, shoulders loose, breathing steady. The house stayed quiet. A year later, Christmas looked smaller. That was the first thing I noticed. Fewer boxes, fewer plans, no schedule taped to the fridge. I took the week off. I hadn't done that in years. Lily helped me put the tree up in the living room of the new place. It leaned a little to the left. We left it that way. She hung an ornament she made out of cardboard and string. One word written in careful block letters. Chosen. She stepped back and studied it. This one feels different, she said. Not excited. Not sad. Just sure. We cooked together. Burned the first batch of cookies. Ate the broken ones anyway. A friend of hers stopped by for an hour and left with leftovers wrapped in foil. Later. Lily sat on the floor with her back against the couch, lights from the tree catching in her hair. "Mom," she said, quiet, "this is the first Christmas I didn't have to hold my breath." I nodded. That was all. When the house finally settled, I sat alone for a bit, listening to the heat click on and off. I thought about how long I'd confused endurance with love, how much lighter my chest felt now. Erin Caldwell didn't lose a family that night. She stopped shrinking to fit one. "If this story stays with you, you know where to find us."